Hi, I'm Dane Scott, a voiceover artist and a voiceover coach. I've discovered that some of the best progress we make in life is by constantly looking for new and better ways to do things. And that's what led me to the creation of this, the Voiceover Goof Stomper. Let me give you a super fast backgrounder on what led me to the creation of the Goof Stomper, the reasoning that I have behind it, and then I'll give you 2 quick steps that you'll need to do to get yours fired up and working. Nothing much to it at all. I've been doing voiceovers for nearly 5 decades now, starting back in 1976, believe it or not. And during that time, there's one thing that has been a constant. I make mistakes. Whether you call them gaffes or blunders or goofs or outtakes, that's kind of the industry term for it. Well, anytime you goof up, there's a fix needed. Early in my career, when I was working with tape, I would punch in my corrections. They called it a punch-in or a punch-and-roll. Something that I won't bore you with here, but it was the origin of something that people still do today, some people do anyway, which is essentially a digital version of punch-and-roll. It's kind of like a hand-to-mouth cleanup. You're doing them as you make them. You make a mistake, you go back and fix it, and then you go on. The problem then and now is that requires you to stop what you're doing, back up, play your way into it, drop back into record mode, and then keep going, replacing the error and hopefully matching your previous recording style. I'll tell you from long experience that if you're doing that, you are going to extend the time it takes to complete your project, and you'll also badly break the rhythm of your voiceover. Plus, you'll have to be diligent to keep track of where you left off in your script, or you're going to find yourself hunting around to find your place again. It works, but it is kind of a time waster, and it really breaks the groove of the read, I think. The alternative to punch and roll is just to mark the errors for editing afterwards. As I'll explain later on in the video, this technique is quicker than punch and roll, and it also lets you keep your eyes on the copy, which also speeds up your read because you don't waste time finding where you left off. You make a mistake, you mark it somehow, you take a breath and read it again, maybe repeatedly, until you get it right, and then you just keep rolling. But you don't break the rhythm. That's what I like about that. Your vocal tone and your style are going to stay more consistent, and so the end result will sound better. As to how you mark the audio, I can tell you that in the early days of digital recording, it was mainly done by making some sort of noise. In the example that you see on the right, that's what a finger snap looks like. I can't snap my fingers very well, but some people can make a nice loud finger snap. It works, and it definitely makes a clear marker, but it's not very comfortable. You know, if you're making lots of mistakes and you're doing a long narration, that can get kind of annoying, irritating, uncomfortable. Snap your fingers 100 or 200 times in a long narration. Personally, I just find it really distracting and annoying to have to keep doing that. All the same things hold true, clapping your hands to create a visual spike in the recording. It's uncomfortable, and I think it's very distracting. Plus, there's the potential you're going to bonk your mic while you're clapping your hands. And then there's the Bronx cheer. You can do that too. That'll leave a spike, but it can also damage your microphone if you got too much moisture flying around. Again, it definitely breaks the flow of the read and the mood of the read if you're doing Bronx cheers, all right? And then there's the Halloween clicker. That requires that you sit there with that thing in your hand and keep using that rather loud, annoying sound each time you make a blunder, which is kind of like putting an exclamation mark at the end of every mistake, like, hey, you just made another error. It just, I don't know, for some reason, those loud, sharp noises really kind of mess me up when I'm trying to convey a theme or a feel or a style or tell a story or whatever it is. So is it the best solution? No. I like it better than punch and roll, but I don't think we're quite there yet. A more elegant alternative is a digital marker. Sometimes it's called a flag, which can be dropped right while you're recording. There are several benefits to using the digital marker approach. It makes no distracting noise. It requires only a tap of the keyboard, either a single key tap, or in some cases, like in Audacity, it's a keyboard combo, meaning that you need to hold down like Control key plus some other key at the same time. I think on Windows, it might be Control period, and it would be Control M under the Mac, or Command M. So there's less of a chance of a misfire when you use a keyboard stroke rather than snapping your fingers loudly. And in addition, You have the feature in most DAWs, digital audio workstations, recording software, to jump from one marker to the next. No need to even look for the markers afterwards. Most software lets you just jump forward or backwards from marker to marker, which makes finding and fixing errors lightning fast. The gotcha when it comes to using digital markers is this. You do need to hit the right key or key combo, which means that if you're watching your script, you have to keep your fingers hovered over the keyboard like a vulture, hovering for the kill. And if your fingers stray away from the keys or the fingers shift on the keyboard, you're going to miss. So, if you stop to scratch your ear too, odds are that you will have to stop the recording while you get your hand or hands back to where they need to be. And, then when you look back up at the screen, you're going to have to find your place in the script again. So not a perfect solution, even though it's definitely better. I don't think that just hitting a key on the keyboard or a keyboard combo is the ultimate solution either. I was able to get past all these pitfalls with the Goof Stomper. You can mark your errors consistently and reliably and silently while leaving your hands free and your mind undistracted by all those noisemakers. And you can keep your eyes on your copy so you don't lose your place. And you can keep rolling when there's a slip-up. You just take a calm breath and start the sentence or the phrase again. Afterwards, you'll be able to fly through those corrections using the digital markers that you've dropped. By using a foot pedal, you can mark the error with just a gentle tap. Actually, you can even just use a little bit of downward pressure with your big toe if you like. And that action is converted into whatever keyboard message is required by your recording software. It can be a single keystroke or a combo. In my software, Twisted Wave, I just use the letter M. In Audacity, it's a combo. And then you might be wondering how that signal gets mapped from the foot pedal to the specific key or combo that your software is expecting to see. I think you're going to chuckle when you see how little is required for that part of it. Let me go through what you need to do next. There are 2 steps to installing. First, you plug in the foot pedal. You'll notice it has a nice long cable, which is a feature I just love about it. It's just a standard USB connection, and you simply plug it into your computer. If your computer prompts you whether you want to use the device, you'll just say yes. Basically, the computer's going to look at it as a spare keyboard. That's the way it's going to seem to the computer. Next, you need to download a little bit of software, just one little program that will allow you to assign a foot pedal press to whatever key or keyboard combo your software requires for a marker. When you ordered the Voiceover Goof Stomper, you received an email containing links to 2 versions of a simple software program, one for Windows, one for the Mac. And so you just pick whichever one you need. Download and install either the one for Windows or the one for the Mac, and it's installed just like every other program you've ever used, so nothing to see here. Just get it installed, and that's it for that. Now, next we want to just double check that the foot pedal is indeed plugged in. And then before we run the configuration software, open your recording program, your digital audio workstation, DAW, whatever you want to call it, and check the documentation to find out what key or key combo it's desiring. What does it want you to send it when you want a marker to be dropped? For our example, we're just going to use the letter M. Now, run the software. And if the foot pedal option isn't selected on the left side, select it. Now, without touching anything else on the screen, just hit the letter M. Okay, you'll see it jump on the right side there, indicating that the command has changed to the letter M. And then beneath that, you want to choose the single option, meaning that even if you hold your foot down on the pedal rather than tapping it, you'll only get one instance of the letter sent to your software. Okay, so then you just hit the Save button on the right, and you'll get a confirmation that the change has been made, popping up on the screen there. Now, if you want to test it out to be sure it's working before trying it in your recording software, open a word processor document and just start tapping your foot on the foot pedal. If you have set it up properly in the setup software, you should see the key you assigned repeating on the screen. If it's a keyboard combo, your text editor might get confused, so I only suggest doing this test if your recording software requires only a single key press to drop a marker. Now open up your recording software and try it out. Create a new recording, speak a little bit, tap the pedal, speak a little more, tap the pedal. Now you've got the hang of it. Now, about the ergonomics. What you want to do is to position the Goof Stomper pedal in a place where your foot rests comfortably at a normal angle. Don't put it in a spot where you have to kind of contort your leg to use it. We want this whole experience to be super pleasant, kind of just like an extension of your body, non-distracting. So find the best, most organic place to position the foot pedal. Don't sit with your foot in the air ready to stomp, okay? And when the time comes to drop a marker, don't truly stomp. My recommendation is that you just rest your foot comfortably on the floor next to the pedal, and when you need to drop a marker, rock your foot up and just gently settle it onto the pedal with a little press or a tap. What I like to do is go in my stocking feet and just use my big toe. That's all the more pressure that's needed. And yet this isn't a squishy or an unreliable switch. When you depress it, you will feel and hear a satisfying, soft little click that'll let you know it's done its job. And you'll also, of course, see a corresponding marker that'll show up in your recording. And as we wrap up, here's one additional little tip that I'm going to give you that I find very, very helpful. It's something that I started doing back in the 90s when I first started doing digital files back in the hand clap and finger snap era, and it's carried over now to this, and it works just great with the foot stopper pedal, and a lot more elegantly too. So I'm going to start recording here. And as I'm recording, I'll intentionally mess up. And when I mess up, I'll drop a marker with the foot pedal. All right, so here we go. And by the way, this is intended to be kind of a retro announcer from like the maybe the roaring 20s. So here we go. The policyholders of the Hartford are being congratulated on being thus indemnified. The policyholders of the Hartford are then... The policyholders of the Hartford are being The policyholders of the Hartford are to be... The policyholders of the Hartford are to be congratulated on being thus indemnified against loss by good men who are perfectly familiar with the business. All right, so you can see that what I did now, if we go back and look, is I marked my mistakes thusly, okay? And I can see that the worst one was, that altogether there were 4, all right? But this is the good take right here. And then let's just take a double check here. Okay, so this is the first of the baddies here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have baddie, marker, second baddie, 2 markers, third baddie, 3 markers, fourth baddie, 4 markers. So we're going to get rid of everything between here and here, just like that. And then what we end up with is going to be just the, starting from the very beginning. But even if the mistake had been further down, I can do the same thing there. By using this little counting technique, you immediately know at a glance how many outtakes in a row you have to deal with and thus what to remove and what to leave. Now, here's the other thing that could happen. I'm going to start recording again. And I think that we'll assume that right now I'm actually doing a read. Okay, so the bouncing of the VUs you're seeing here is actual reading. Now, I am a little thirsty, so I'm going to stop and take a drink. And then I'm going to do this. There's just like this long, mysterious silence there. All right, well, what that's saying is, okay, there isn't an outtake involved here. This was just a break in the action. Maybe your husband or your wife were calling from the other room, or the dog was scratching to be left out, or something. So what you do here is you just say, okay, I know now that this was all just blank junk, so I can just take all of that out. So we can just know immediately from that like 10 markers in a row that this is all just stuff we can get rid of. So there you go. This again really helps. And then the other thing I mentioned earlier in this presentation is if you know how to jump from marker to marker, usually it's like control arrow or something like that, you can literally leap from marker to marker to find where all of your mistakes are and edit them out even faster than scrolling around to hunt down the markers. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope the Goof Stomper is super helpful to you. If you enjoy it half as much as I do, I think you're going to get great use out of it. And please let me know your thoughts. If you have any comments, be sure to send me an email or send me a personal message there on Facebook. And also, if you need any help, be sure to contact me. I'll do all I can to help as well. Enjoy your Goof Stomper. Thanks. I'm Dane Scott.